Welcome, fellow nerd and dreamers, to the ultimate nerdy what-if stories and alternate tales. I'm your guide through the wildest corners of fandom and imagination. What if Hogwarts joined the Transformers? What if Darth Bane raised Draco as a Sith? Here, we rewrite the rules of your favorite universes. Comics, movies, books, games, you name it. Spinning epic what-ifs and alternate tales that'll make you rethink everything you know. Expect twists, deep dives, and maybe a little chaos as we explore the stories that never happened, but totally could have. Got a nerdy idea of your own? Send it our way. We might just turn it into the next episode. So grab your lightsaber, roll those D20s, and let's jump into today's ultimate what if. Because in this podcast, the multiverse is ours to mess with. So buckle up, nerds. It's time to rewrite reality. And today's story is a Harry Potter with Transformers story for us to enjoy, so let's go.
Darkness fell over the wizarding world. Voldemort was back, stronger than ever. But this time he wasn't alone. A chilling wind swept across the land, carrying whispers of a new power. The Death Eater spoke of metal giants of cold, calculating cruelty. Voldemort had forged an alliance with Megatron and his Decepticons. The Forbidden Forest shuddered under the weight of Decepticon warships. Their metal hulls gleamed menacingly under the pale moon. Voldemort saw in Megatron a shared ambition, a hunger for power. Megatron, in turn, saw the ancient magic of the wizarding world as a weapon to be exploited. The whispers grew louder, spreading fear throughout the land. Something terrible was coming. Something that threatened not just the wizarding world but all of humanity. Hogwarts, the ancient school of magic, braced itself for the storm. The ground trembled. A shadow fell over the Quidditch pitch. Towering figures made of metal and light materialized out of thin air. The Autobots had arrived. Optimus Prime, noble and resolute, stood at their head. Professor Dumbledore, his eyes twinkling with a spark of hope, greeted them. "Welcome," he pooted, his voice echoing across the ground. "We have been expecting you." The news of the alliance spread through the castle like wildfire. Wizards and witches whispered excitedly, their fears momentarily forgotten in the face of such powerful allies. The Autobots, veterans of countless battles, looked upon Hogwarts with a strange sense of wonder. This ancient castle, steeped in magic, was unlike anything they had ever seen. They were a world apart, yet united by a common enemy. The Great Hall buzzed with activity. Goblins tinkered alongside Autobot engineers. House elves served tea to bemused robots, their little eyes wide with curiosity. Collaboration, though unusual, proved surprisingly effective. Professor Flitwick, perched atop a stack of books, instructed Ironhide in the finer points of shield charms. Rubius Hagrid, beaming with pride, showed off his blast-ended scroots to a fascinated Ratchet. The most unlikely friendships blossomed. Neville Longbottom, his shy nature forgotten, eagerly explained herbology to a patient hound. Luna Lovegood, her eyes sparkling, shared stories of Raxperts and Nargles with a surprisingly attentive Jazz. In the Room of Requirement, Harry Potter trained alongside Optimus Prime. The ancient magic of the wizarding world combined with the Autobots' advanced technology created a formidable force. They were ready to face the darkness that threatened to engulf their worlds. The air crackled with tension. Our ambition burns like a dark fire. Voldemort and Megatron, their ambition burning like a dark fire, stood before the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets. They sought the power within, the ancient magic that could fuel their conquest. The power within this chamber will be us. Harriet, guided by a strange connection to Voldemort, led the charge. Autobots and wizards fought side by side, their combined might pushing back against the tide of Decepticons and Death Eaters. Spells met laser fire, the clash echoing through the castle. "We can't let them get to the chamber." The chamber doors groaned open, revealing a vast echoing chamber. In the center, a swirling vortex of raw magic pulsed with sinister energy. "This is it, the source of our power." This was it, the source of Voldemort and Megatron's power. This was what they had to protect. The bridge to Hogwarts groaned under the weight of the battle. All the line Autobots, Omega Supreme, a colossal Autobot warrior, stood defiant against the onslaught of Devastator, the monstrous Decepticon combiner. The ground shook with each earth-shattering blow. Spells and laser fire lit up the sky. "We have to reach Voldemort and Megatron." Harry, alongside Optimus Prime, fought his way towards Voldemort and Megatron. The fate of two worlds rested on their shoulders. The battle raged, a chaotic dance of magic and metal. But amidst the chaos there was hope. The courage of wizards and Autobots, united against a common enemy. And in the end, it was this courage, this unwavering belief in a better tomorrow, that saved them all.
If you are enjoying these episodes, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more epic crossovers, and let me know of your own what-if ideas in the comments. And now on with the next episode.
Are you ready?
And today's story is a Harry Potter with Star Wars story for us to enjoy. So let's go.
Darkness. A cold wind swept across the grounds. Hogwarts shivered. A presence had arrived. Darth Bane stood at the edge of the Forbidden Forest. His eyes, yellow and malevolent, drank in the castle's magic. Fear seeped into the very stones of Hogwarts. Bane had come to crush this bastion of light. He sensed the power within, a power he coveted. He would corrupt it, twist it, make it his own. His hand moved, beckoning his apprentice, Xana. Her eyes mirrored his ambition. The Hogwarts defences remained oblivious to the dark side's approach. This was no mere magical attack. This was the insidious touch of the Sith, a force that thrived on fear. Bane smiled cruelly. Hogwarts was unaware. Soon they would understand. A whisper of fear in the corridors, an unsettling chill in the air. The students dismissed it as a trick of the wind. But the shadows grew longer, colder. Hogwarts had a vulnerability, one that Darth Bane was poised to exploit. Albus Dumbledore, headmaster of Hogwarts, felt it first, a disturbance in the Force, alien and sinister. It was unlike anything he'd encountered. This was not magic as he knew it. This was something ancient, something evil. He summoned the heads of houses, their faces etched with concern.
Albus, this feels different, darker.
Dumbledore nodded grimly. He knew. This was not a threat they could face with spells and charms alone. This enemy was something else entirely. News of the approaching darkness spread through the castle like wildfire. Fear, raw and potent, gripped the students. Yet, amidst the fear, courage flickered. They were witches and wizards, trained in the magical arts. They would not surrender their home without a fight. The defence professors, led by the seasoned Auror, Alistair Moody, rallied the students. Wands were drawn, spells practiced, defences reinforced. Hogwarts, for all its magical wonder, was also a fortress, and its defenders were prepared to fight. The first clash was swift, brutal. A group of Aurors, wands raised, confronted the advancing Sith. Spells flew, bolts of light meeting the crimson blades of lightsabers. The air crackled with raw power, but the Sith were unlike any foe they'd faced. Lightsabers cleaved through shields, deflecting spells with unnatural speed. The dark side, a suffocating presence, hampered their magic. The Aurors fought bravely, but they were outmatched. The Sith fought with cold efficiency, their movements honed by years of relentless training. Within the castle walls, students and teachers watched in horror as the battle raged. The crimson glow of lightsabers illuminated the night, casting grotesque shadows that danced across the terrified faces. The very air thrummed with dark energy, a palpable force that sent shivers down their spines.
Each fallen aura strengthened Bane's resolve. Their magic, while potent, was disorganized, undisciplined. He would show them true power, the power of the dark side. He would break them, bend them to his will, or he would destroy them.
Section 4. Bane's Web of Deception. Darth Bane, a master strategist, knew that brute force alone wouldn't win him Hogwarts. He needed to sow discord to exploit the weaknesses within. His true enemy wasn't magic, but unity, and he would shatter it from within. Sith Lord whispers of doubt began to surface. Rumours spread like wildfire through the castle. Students, their fears magnified by the encroaching darkness, started to question their teachers, their defences, even their fellow students. Trust, the bedrock of Hogwarts, began to crumble. Sith Lord Bane, through subtle manipulations of the Force, amplified their fears, their doubts. He planted seeds of suspicion, turning friend against friend, student against teacher. He knew that a divided house could not stand. His apprentice, Xana, a master of illusions, infiltrated the castle disguised as a distraught student. She wove tales of betrayal, of hidden agendas, fueling the flames of distrust. Sith Minion. The students, caught in the grip of fear and confusion, became easy prey to her manipulations. Section 5. The walls of loyalty crumble. The seeds of doubt sown by Bane blossomed into open conflict. Friendships fractured under the strain of fear and paranoia. Slytherin House, drawn to power, became a breeding ground for dissent. House rivalries burned with renewed intensity. Hufflepuff's trust was shaken to the core. Dumbledore fought to maintain order, but Bane's influence was strong. Hogwarts teetered on the brink of collapse. Section 6. The Fate of Hogwarts. The fate of Hogwarts hung in the balance. The castle, battered but not broken, stood as a testament to the courage of its defenders. Yet the true battle was not fought with spells and swords, but within the hearts and minds of its inhabitants. Could Hogwarts, weakened by internal strife and facing an enemy that thrived on fear, hope to withstand the onslaught of Darth Bane? Or would this bastion of magic fall to the insidious power of the dark side? The answer, like the swirling mists of the Forbidden Forest, remained shrouded in uncertainty. One thing was clear. The spirit of Hogwarts, forged in centuries of magic and learning, would not be easily extinguished. The fight for Hogwarts was far from over.
If you are enjoying these episodes, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more epic crossovers, and let me know of your own what-if ideas in the comments. And now on with the next episode.
Are you ready?
And today's story is a Transformers with Star Wars story for us to enjoy. So let's go.
In a universe where galaxies span infinite possibilities, a convergence of destinies unfolded with cataclysmic implications. It began with the dark rumblings of Sith whispers echoing across the stars. Reaching the mechanical realm of Cybertron, Darth Bane, the ancient Sith Lord, and his Brotherhood of Darkness set their eyes on a new conquest. Cybertron, home to the Autobots and Decepticons. The Autobots, led by Optimus Prime, and the Decepticons, under Megatron's command, found themselves united in an unprecedented alliance against a common enemy. The Sith's arrival on Cybertron sparked intense battles that shook the very foundations of the metallic planet. Lightsabers clashed with energon blades, and the Force collided with Cybertronian firepower in a symphony of destruction and defiance. As the war raged, whispers of ancient Sith temples on Exegol reached the ears of the Decepticons. Megatron, ever hungry for power, saw an opportunity in the dark side artifacts, unlimited energon, capable of fueling his ambitions to a level previously unimaginable. Some Decepticons, drawn by promises of power, fell under the sway of the Sith teachings, adding a new dimension to the conflict. Unbeknownst to all, the ancient transformer known as Unicron, the devourer of worlds, stirred from his slumber. Sensing the disturbance caused by the Sith at their dark temples, Unicron saw an opportunity to further his own insatiable hunger. He envisioned consuming the Sith's power for himself, a plan that aligned with his eternal goal of eradicating all who wielded the Force. The escalating conflict drew the attention of the Jedi Order, who reluctantly found themselves in an unprecedented situation.
If you are enjoying these episodes, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more epic crossovers, and let me know of your own what-if ideas in the comments. And now on with the next episode.
Are you ready?
And today's story is a Transformers with Star Wars story for us to enjoy. So let's go.
In the far reaches of the galaxy, beyond the stars and the vast expanse of space, there existed a world where Autobots and Decepticons clash in an endless battle for power and survival. Among these mechanical titans was the soldier known as Hot Rod, who, unknowing to him, was about to inherit the mantle of leadership from the legendary one known as Optimus Prime. Hot Rod stood on the bridge of the Ark, gazing at the stars when the message came through. The image of a battle-scarred Autobot flickered to life on the holo communicator before him. Hot Rod, Goldbug began. I bring grave news that many have fallen, including Optimus Prime. Hot Rod felt a great weight of hatred descend upon him. The battle had taken place not in their usual theaters of war, but on a planet embroiled in a conflict between the Sith and the Jedi, ancient orders of Force wielders whose powers were beyond the comprehension of most beings. In a battle between the Force wielders, Optimus was trying to mediate peace, but he was caught in the crossfire and was torn apart by the ones only known as Sith. The door to the bridge of the Ark opened with Cosmos entering. I bring you the matrix of leadership, as you will now be known as Rodimus Prime forevermore. Cosmos stated, "You are now our greatest hope." Rodimus Prime received the transmission with a heavy heart. Rodimus took a deep breath, his resolve hardening. "I swear, by the All-Spark, I will avenge Optimus. The Force wielders will pay for this." The Autobots around him nodded in agreement as they too felt the loss deeply. They were all ready to follow Rodimus Prime, ready to fight for vengeance. The loss of Optimus was not just a blow to the Autobots, but to the galaxy at large. Anguish quickly turned into a burning desire for vengeance, and they vowed to avenge Optimus and eradicate those responsible for his demise. As Rodimus delved into the details of the battle, he learned of the immense power these Force wielders possessed. Their abilities to manipulate the very fabric of reality made them formidable adversaries. Rodimus knew that to confront such a threat, he would need more than just the strength of the Autobots. He would need a power that could rival the Force itself. It was then that he remembered the dark legend of Unicron, the ancient and malevolent entity, a force of chaos and destruction that had once threatened the very existence of the universe. Unicron had been dormant for eons, but Rodimus felt a surge in the cosmic energies, a tremor of fear in the universe that suggested the dark entity was stirring once more. Driven by his thirst for revenge, Rodimus embarked on a perilous journey to awaken Unicron. He traveled to the farthest reaches of the galaxy, to the desolate and forgotten worlds where Unicron's presence was strongest. There, in the shadow of a colossal, dormant form, Rodimus invoked the ancient rites to rouse the sleeping giant. As Unicron awoke, the ground trembled and the stars seemed to dim. The Dark Titan's eyes glowed with an unholy light as he gazed upon Rodimus Prime. "Who dares to awaken me from my slumber?" Unicron's voice boomed, echoing through the void. "I am Rodimus Prime," the Autobot leader declared, his voice unwavering. "I seek your power to destroy all of the ancient ones known only to us as Force wielders. They took the life of Optimus Prime. Aid me, and together we will annihilate them before they come for your life as well." Unicron's sinister laughter filled the cosmos. "You seek to harness my power, Rodimus Prime? Very well. I will grant you a fraction of my might. But know this, the price of my aid is your very soul." Without hesitation, Rodimus accepted the Dark Pact. A surge of malevolent energy coursed through him, enhancing his strength and abilities far beyond anything he had known. He felt the power of Unicron intertwining with his own, transforming him into a formidable force of destruction known now as Fearos. Armed with this newfound power, Fearos returned to the battlefield where Optimus had fallen. He unleashed a relentless assault upon all of the Force wielders alike, not separating the two. Feroz allowing his vengeance, fueled by the dark energy of Unicron, to destroy them all. The Force wielders, taken aback by the sheer ferocity and power of Feroz, struggled to defend themselves against his onslaught. In the midst of the chaos, Feroz encountered a Sith Lord, the very one who had dealt the fatal blow to Optimus Prime. The battle that ensued was fierce and merciless, each strike echoing with the wrath of a grieving leader. With a final devastating blow, Feroz obliterated the Sith. With their fall, Feroz had avenged Optimus Prime's death. Rodimus tried to return to his former self, but felt the struggle between the hate for Force and desire for peace. The darkness of Unicron's power began to consume Rodimus, threatening to turn him into Feroz, the harbinger of destruction permanently. Sensing the growing darkness within their leader, the Autobots rallied to his side, determined to save him from the abyss of hate. Rodimus called for a temporary ceasefire and reached out to the remaining Jedi and Sith alike. We cannot continue this senseless destruction. Too much has been lost already. Let us find another way. The Jedi, always seeking peace, were the first to agree. The Sith, seeing the devastation wrought by Unicron, reluctantly followed suit. With their combined might, the Autobots, Jedi, and Sith turned their focus on Unicron. They devised a plan to trap him within a containment field powered by the Force and Autobot technology. The Death Star provided the necessary energy to power the field, and in a final, desperate push, they managed to activate it. Unicron, unable to escape, roared in fury as he was trapped. It was the wisdom of an ancient Jedi Master that ultimately reached Rodimus. The Jedi, recognizing the conflict within him, spoke of balance and redemption. Vengeance is a path to darkness, Rodimus. Release your anger, find the light within, and honor Optimus by protecting life, not destroying it. In a moment of clarity, Rodimus fought against the darkness consuming him. With the support of his fellow Autobots and the guidance of the Jedi, he managed to sever the connection to Unicron, reclaiming his true self. The power of Unicron dissipated, leaving Rodimus weakened but free from its malevolent influence. Though the battle against the Sith and Jedi had taken a heavy toll, Rodimus emerged with a renewed sense of purpose. The alliance between the Autobots and the Force wielders, forged in the crucible of battle, held. They began working together to restore what had been destroyed, hopeful for a future where such devastation would never occur again. And so, Rodimus Prime, having faced his darkest hour, emerged as a leader who understood the true meaning of strength not in vengeance, but in unity and hope. With the memory of Optimus Prime guiding him, Rodimus led the Autobots in a new era of cooperation with the Jedi, striving to bring peace to a galaxy torn apart by conflict. And thus, the legend of Rodimus Prime, who faced the darkness and chose the light, was etched into the annals of history, testament to the enduring power of hope and the unbreakable bond between those who fight for a better future.
If you are enjoying these episodes, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more epic crossovers, and let me know of your own what-if ideas in the comments. And now on with the next episode.
Are you ready?
And today's story is a Transformers with Star Wars story for us to enjoy. So let's go. Once upon a time, in a galaxy far, far away, the echoes of ancient conflicts reverberated across the stars. The Sith and the Jedi, locked in their eternal struggle, were unaware of the approaching storm. The Decepticons, led by the treacherous Starscream. This is a tale of alliances formed in the shadows, betrayals that reshaped destinies, and the ultimate conquest of power. Starscream sat on his throne in the Decepticon base, dreams of leadership heavy on his mind. A Decepticon scout approached, his expression grave. "Lord Starscream, I bring dire news. Megatron has been defeated." Starscream's optics widened in disbelief. "What? How?" "During the Battle of Exegol, the scout explained. Megatron fell to one named Darth Bane. After defeating the Autobots and the Jedi, Megatron faced Bane and proclaimed that the two of them were equals, both possessing unmatched power. But Bane only laughed. He turned to his apprentice and declared, "There will only ever be but two Sith at one time, a Dark Lord to embody the power and an apprentice to crave it. No equals and no exceptions." With that, he used the power they call the Force to rip Megatron apart. Starscream's disbelief quickly turned to rage. The Decepticon leader who had once ruled with an iron fist was gone. Now, the mantle of leadership was his. But more than that, Starscream saw an opportunity, a chance to seize ultimate power. Megatron's death left a vacuum, and with it, Starscream could claim his place as ruler of the Decepticons and beyond. Megatron and Optimus Prime, leaders of the Decepticons and Autobots respectively, had brought their interstellar conflict to the Force wielders' doorstep. The combined forces of the Sith and Decepticons overwhelmed the Autobots and Jedi, leading to the tragic conclusion of Megatron and Optimus Prime both falling in battle, their final blows marking the end of an era. As Starscream processed the news, the scout continued, "Many Autobots and Decepticons were destroyed in the battle. The awakening of Unicron unleashed havoc. He attacked the planet, drawn by the raw power of the Force." Starscream's mind raced. Unicron, the Chaos Bringer, was active once more. And now, with Megatron gone, the path was clear for Starscream to forge his own destiny. He would not only avenge Megatron, but also harness the power of the Dark Force wielders to become unstoppable. His optics flickered with determination. This was more than revenge. It was an opportunity to rule the galaxy. Starscream flew to Unicron's resting place, his engines roaring as he approached the colossal entity. The ancient god of chaos had been dormant for millennia, but the Force had reawakened him. Unicron's eyes glowed as he acknowledged the Decepticon leader. "Unicron, mighty bringer of chaos," Starscream began, his voice filled with a mixture of respect and cunning. "Megatron is no more. The Force wielders are responsible for his demise. They are the same ones who imprisoned you. I propose an alliance to hunt them down and destroy them all." Unicron's deep, resonant voice echoed through the vast chamber. "And what do you seek in return, Starscream?" "I seek the power that the Dark Force user harnessed from the dark side of the Force," Starscream replied. "With that power, I will lead the Decepticons to victory and ensure our dominance." Unicron remained silent for a moment, his gaze piercing. Long ago, the Sith had sought to use his chaotic energy for their own ends. When they failed to control him, they imprisoned him deep within Tython, fearing his destructive power. Now, freed by the Force's resurgence, Unicron's thirst for revenge had only grown. "Very well, Starscream," Unicron rumbled. "I will grant you a portion of my power. Together, we will crush all who oppose us." Dark energy streamed from Unicron into Starscream, transforming him into Ulktar, the Defiled One. His body twisted and expanded, becoming a terrifying fusion of machine and dark energy, his optics glowing with newfound power. Yet with the power came something else, a faint, insidious whisper in the back of Ulktar's mind, one urging him toward greater destruction. Ulktar returned to the Decepticon base, his resolve steely and his ambition clear. He rallied the remaining Decepticons, his voice booming with authority.
"Decepticons, our time has come. These Force wielders have taken much from us, but now we will take everything from them. We will hunt them down, destroy their strongholds, and harness their power for ourselves. Failure is not an option." The Decepticons, inspired by Ulktar's determination, prepared for war. Their first target, Korriban, the heart of Jedi and Sith power. Ulktar led the Decepticon fleet to Korriban, with Unicron looming ominously behind them. The skies above the city planet were filled with starships, both Jedi and Sith ready to defend their home. Olchtar and his forces launched a relentless attack, their weapons tearing through the defenders' ranks. The Decepticons fought with ruthless efficiency, driven by their leader's unyielding ambition. Unicron unleashed his destructive power, his beams of energy cutting through the Jedi and Sith ships. The planet trembled under his onslaught, the very ground cracking and splitting from the force of his attacks.
As the battle raged, Olchtar focused on finding the sources of the Sith's dark power. He scoured the ancient temple and archives, determined to unlock the secrets of the dark side. In the depths of the Sith temple, Olchtar discovered an ancient holocron, pulsing with dark energy. As he activated it, the voice of a long-dead Sith Lord echoed through the chamber. "Welcome, Seeker of Power. The knowledge of the dark side is yours if you are willing to embrace it." Olchtar, consumed by his desire for power, accepted without hesitation. The holocron's dark energy flowed into him, amplifying his abilities and filling him with a new, terrifying strength. With each passing moment, Olchtar felt the force fuse with his mechanical being, reshaping his form and mind. His thoughts grew sharper, more focused, but also more dangerous. The whisper of chaos in his mind grew louder. With Unicron's guidance and the Sith's dark knowledge, Olchtar began experiments to harness the Force and convert it into energon, the lifeblood of Transformers. Unicron provided the arcane technology needed to bridge the gap between the Force and energon, resulting in a new, potent energy source, Force Energon. "The Force is a current, a raw power," Unicron explained, his voice a rumble of destruction. "It flows through all things. Just as energon fuels your kind, the Force can be harnessed, shaped, and transformed. This technology will allow you to convert it, melding the power of the Force with your very spark." Empowered by the dark side, Olchtar returned to the battle, his presence now a more terrifying force. He cut through Jedi and Sith with ease, his newfound abilities making him nearly unstoppable. Realizing the threat Olchtar posed, the Jedi and Sith formed an uneasy alliance. Together, they launched a desperate counterattack, their combined might focused on stopping the Decepticon leader. Olchtar and his Decepticons, now infused with Force Energon, became nearly invincible. The energy of the dark side flowed through them, enhancing their speed, strength, and reflexes. Their weapons crackled with lightning, and their sensors were heightened beyond anything they had known. The Jedi and Sith, already weakened from their civil war, were no match for the Decepticons' newfound power. One by one, the Force wielders fell, their ancient order brought to the brink of extinction. But amidst the chaos, a final plan was brewing, a plan born of desperation and unity. Despite their best efforts, the Jedi and Sith could not withstand Olchtar's onslaught. Korriban lay in ruins, the once great city planet reduced to rubble, but the cost of victory was high. Many Decepticons were lost, and even Unicron had sustained significant damage. As Olchtar stood amidst the wreckage, he realized the true cost of his quest for power. He had won, but at what price? His empire, fueled by Force Energon, extended across countless star systems. Yet, in his quest for dominance, Olchtar had underestimated one force: the resilience of hope. With the Jedi and Sith defeated, Olchtar declared himself the supreme ruler of the galaxy. But even as he sat on his throne, the galaxy at his feet, Olchtar knew that his victory was hollow. The power he had sought so desperately had come at a great cost, and in the end, he was left with nothing but a shattered empire and the haunting knowledge that true power always comes with a price. Unicron's whispers still echoed in his mind, but now they were taunts, mocking his Pyrrhic triumph. Whispers of rebellion began to spread. Survivors of the Jedi and Sith, along with remnants of the Autobots and other oppressed beings, united under a common cause. Led by a new generation of heroes, they sought to overthrow Ulktar and free the galaxy from his tyrannical rule. The stage was set for a final, epic confrontation. In the shadow of Unicron, whose presence loomed ominously over the galaxy, the forces of rebellion clashed with Ulktar's Decepticons. In a battle that shook the very fabric of the universe, the rebels harnessed the last remnants of the Force, combining it with the indomitable spirit of the Autobots. As Ulktar waged his relentless war on Korriban, Unicron loomed in the skies, raining destruction from above. But the Chaosbringer's power was not without limits, and the continuous toll of the battle against the combined might of the Jedi and Sith began to wear him down. In a desperate move to save themselves, the Jedi and Sith, fighting side by side, devised a final plan. They channeled the full power of the Force, both light and dark, into a devastating strike aimed directly at Unicron. The combined energies of the Force ripped through space, striking Unicron at his core. The massive Titan let out a deafening roar as the Force seared through his metallic body, fracturing him piece by piece. Ulktar, sensing the impending disaster, attempted to sever his connection with Unicron to protect himself, but it was too late. As Unicron exploded in a brilliant blaze of light, the shockwave reverberated through the galaxy. Ulktar was thrown into a moment of chaos, his link to the Chaosbringer nearly broken. Weakened but defiant, Ulktar stood determined to seize victory, even in the face of his master's demise. However, in the end, it was his own hubris that led to his downfall. The rebels, finding the remnants of Unicron's core that maintained the connection to Ulktar, managed to sever it completely. Without the Chaosbringer's support, Starscream returned to his original form and was finally defeated. In the aftermath, the galaxy began to heal. The remnants of the Force wielders found a fragile peace, and the Autobots, guided by a new Prime, worked to rebuild what had been lost. The legend of Starscream and his dark reign became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the enduring power of hope. And so, a new era dawned, one where the lessons of the past would guide the future, and the Force, in all its mystery, continued to bind the galaxy together forever. If you are enjoying these episodes, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more epic crossovers, and let me know of your own what-if ideas in the comments. And now on with the next episode.
Are you ready?
And today's story is for all of the ultimate nerds out there with this exciting story for us to enjoy. So let's go.
The origins of the offenders.
Fuck you, Tony!
It all began at Demolition Ranch, where Brandon Herrera, Eli Double Tap, Batty Streams, Cody, aka Donut Operator, Nick, aka Fat Electrician, Matt, aka Demolition Ranch, and Rich, aka Angry Cops, they had all gathered for a day of shooting guns and relaxing with their favorite beverage, an ice-cold White Claw. Unbeknownst to them, the villain Tony Gonzalez, also known as Two-Face Tony, had tampered with their batch of White Claws. Tony's goal was to create chaos by unlocking latent superpowers in those who drank the concoction. As the group enjoyed their day, something strange began to happen. They all passed out where they stood after drinking some of the White Claw. When they awoke, each discovered they had developed the touch of tism from the drinks, and now had extraordinary unique abilities. Eli found he could move at incredible speeds, much like the Flash. But after arriving at his destination, he phased out for 5 minutes, unable to interact with anything. During this time, he took extremely detailed notes, always carrying a notepad in his pocket wherever he went. Batty found he had Magneto's powers, but only for drywall. Unfortunately, using his power caused uncontrollable ejaculation, leaving him in a state of constant ecstasy. Cody found he could fly, but only while shouting racial slurs. His friends understood the reason for the taunts, but bystanders would often respond with gunfire as he flew overhead. Brandon had gained Deadpool's powers of regeneration. After dying, he would wake up in his bed, with no memory of the events leading up to his death. His memories slowly returned about 15 minutes after drinking a White Claw. Strangely, he was often the cause of his own death every night. Nick had gained Professor X's powers but could only access them for 45 seconds after a moment of post-nut clarity. He always kept a bottle of chews in his pocket, a stack of dollar bills for any dancers nearby, and an app for activities that could support his ability. Matt found he could teleport, but only by sacrificing a kitten each time. To support his ability, he built an orphanage specifically designed to raise kittens. Underneath the orphanage, the group built a lab to study Brandon's abilities to be able to help Matt with the key to his powers. Rich now could become invisible, but had to continuously masturbate to maintain it. He wore special glasses that would display porn, a bottle of chews in his pocket, and gloves with built-in lotion dispensers to assist him in his abilities. Needing a base of operations, the group found an abandoned station that was connected to every train station in the world through an ancient underground portal. However, the portal only worked if someone was using it as a toilet. After much thought, because of all the special things they had now, they decided to name their hideout Autisma Hall. The rise of Two-Faced Tony. Two-Faced Tony was a master manipulator whose mind control powers only worked if he spoke as though he was a congressman. His greatest weapon was scumbag fuckers, this being his most potent attack, rendering everyone under his control until he stopped talking. Contaminating the White Claws was just the beginning. His plan was to create chaos, turning friends against each other and bending them to his will. The offenders knew they had to stop him before he wreaked even more havoc onto the world. The tragic battle. The team trained hard, learning to control their bizarre powers. Their first major encounter with Two-Faced Tony took place in the city's downtown, where he was inciting a riot. "You scumbag fuckers should destroy this entire city, take over everything, make it your kingdom," he shouted through a megaphone. As the offenders engaged Two-Faced Tony, Batty used his drywall manipulation to protect civilians and try to create barriers. However, each use of his power left him increasingly vulnerable. In the heat of battle, Two-Faced Tony unleashed his scumbag fuckers attack once more, causing confusion among the team. They turned on each other, fighting over a pack of White Claws, but there was only one can left. Seizing the opportunity, Tony urged other civilians to join the battle for the last can. In a desperate bid to save his friends, Batty pushed his powers to the limit. Surrounded by debris, he pulled all the drywall to him, pinning the offenders in a makeshift cage. The strain was too much, and he collapsed, dying with a great smile of ecstasy on his face. Laughing at his victory, Tony fled the area, leaving the now free civilians dazed and confused as to what had happened. The aftermath. The loss of Batty was a heavy blow. The team mourned their friend, but knew they had to press on. They retreated to Autisma Hall to regroup. Determined to honor Batty's sacrifice, they vowed to defeat Two-Faced Tony once and for all. Brandon cleaned and sorted his guns, lost in thought. Eli meticulously organized his cameras by color, model, and capabilities. Cody sat quietly, reflecting on the hostility that he was always faced with while trying to help anyone. To help himself focus, Matt started to plan his next video and trying to decide what they could shoot and destroy next. Rich paced in circles, yelling about the idiotic things Army privates were likely doing somewhere. And Nick sat in his favorite chair, ranting about the evils of communism.
Communism is the fucking dumbest thing ever, and if you don't agree, well then you are a fucking idiot.
Despite their loss, they knew Tony had to be stopped. The final showdown. With renewed determination, the team tracked Two-Faced Tony to his lair, where he hid among like-minded politicians. Brandon popped a White Claw and began the fighting fiercely, his regenerative abilities giving him an edge of not caring about dying. With the speed Eli had, he was able to provide crucial reconnaissance. Cody's flight, though awkward, gave them aerial support and a distraction as well. And Nick's brief telepathy offered key insights into Tony's plans to become president with a special support team by his side. Matt's teleportation allowed for quick strikes and by only having to have a single lab kitten in the bag, he was fully prepared for the fight. While Rich's invisibility enabled him to sabotage Tony's equipment and tie his shoestrings together. As they confronted Tony, the battle was intense. His mind control powers were formidable, but the team was ready this time. They used noise-canceling devices to block much of his word control tactics and launched a coordinated attack. Brandon's relentless assaults, Cody's aerial bombardments, and Matt's teleportation overwhelmed Tony's defenses. Eli located traps that were set by Two-Faced Tony, while Rich set his own traps for Tony. But in the end, it was Nick who delivered the final blow. After his last chew and 30 seconds on the app, he got his brief telepathic window to exploit Tony's deepest fear. He made Tony believe he was alone in an empty stadium, about to give a presidential concession speech with only his 2-member Democrat support team, beside him, waiting to give him his consolation prize for losing. This decisive strike broke Tony's mental stability and sent him fleeing in fear of what prize he would get. A new era. With Tony defeated, the offenders returned to Autisma Hall, dedicating their victory to Batty with a shot of tequila and a cold white claw. They would continue their mission, protecting the world from threats and ensuring Tony's legacy of chaos would not prevail. Autisma Hall, with its unique portal and the team's bizarre yet powerful abilities, became a symbol of resilience and unity for the whole world. As they sat around the table, listening to Nick rant about communism, Eli turned to Brandon and asked, "Do you think there are others like us?" Brandon simply replied, "We will see who comes to the table."
Fuck you, Tony!
If you are enjoying these episodes, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more epic crossovers, and let me know of your own what-if ideas in the comments. And now on with the next episode.
Are you ready?
And today's story is a Harry Potter story for us to enjoy, so let's go.
The choice at the crossroads. The wind screamed across the astronomy tower, clawing at Draco Malfoy's robes as he stood, wand shaking, staring into Dumbledore's unflinching eyes. Beneath his invisibility cloak, Harry Potter's pulse thundered. This was the moment. He ripped the cloak away, bursting into the open. "Draco, stop! You don't have to damn yourself tonight." Draco whirled, his voice a jagged snarl. "Get back, Potter! You think you know me? You don't! They'll butcher my family for this!" His wand quivered, his face a mask of anguish. Harry advanced, voice rising like a storm. "I've watched you unravel all year, teetering on the edge. You're not their puppet, Draco. You're terrified, and that's your salvation." Draco's sneer twisted into a scream. "Salvation? They'll carve my mother's heart out." Harry's eyes blazed. "We'll shield them, I swear it. You're not forsaken yet." A frozen moment. Draco's wand dipped, tears spilling down his cheeks. Then a feral shriek echoed up the stairs. Bellatrix. "Draco, you coward!" she howled as Death Eaters surged into view. Draco's voice broke, a desperate roar. "Expelliarmus!" The spell tore Bellatrix's wand from her grip, and he seized Harry's arm, bellowing, "Run, you fool!" Spells detonated, green death and red fury crashing around them. They dove behind a pillar, stone shattering, and with a deafening crack, apparated into the void. Days later, in the Order's suffocating safe house, Draco hunched against the wall, a coiled viper. Ron's voice was a venomous growl. "Why should we trust this snake?" Hermione snapped, fierce and unyielding. "Because he's our weapon now. He knows their filth, like the Hogsmeade slaughter they're plotting." Draco's eyes flashed, his words a low, guttural vow. "I'm not your bloody pet, Granger. I'm here to claw my soul back from fear." Harry met his glare, voice iron. "Then prove it, Draco. That's all I ask." Weeks blurred. Draco scrawled maps, spat strategies at Hermione, traded hexes with Harry in brutal practice. His sarcasm sharpened into a blade of purpose. The Battle of Hogwarts dawned in fire and ruin. In the Great Hall, wands clashed like thunder, and Draco fought beside them, a storm unleashed. Then, Lucius emerged, his voice a venomous hiss. "Draco, you treacherous whelp, betraying your blood!" Draco faced him, trembling with rage. "You sold me to that monster! You abandoned your son!" Lucius faltered, wand dipping. Draco's spell roared, "Expelliarmus!" and his father's wand skidded across the stone, a shackle broken. A curse shrieked through the air, green and lethal. Draco threw himself at Harry, shouting, "Down, Potter!" The spell grazed his shoulder, and he crashed to the floor, gasping in agony. Harry hauled him up, voice fierce. "You're ours now, Draco, our brother in this hell!" Draco's smirk was a ragged, defiant slash. "Don't you dare get sentimental, you git!" They spun, wands blazing, facing the Death Eaters as one. When Voldemort's scream tore the air and he fell, the hall shook with triumph. But Draco stood apart, bloodied, unbowed. Dawn bled gold over Hogwarts' scars. Harry approached, boots grinding rubble. Draco stared ahead, voice a whisper. "Don't say it, Potter." Harry's tone was steel and fire. "You fought for more than yourself today. You forged a legacy in that chaos." Draco's hand shot out, trembling, and Harry gripped it hard. "No soppy embraces, you hear me?" Draco growled. A sharp, jagged laugh broke free, raw and alive, as the sun climbed higher. Draco turned, striding toward the wreckage, neither saint nor sinner, but a soul reclaimed.
If you are enjoying these episodes, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more epic crossovers, and let me know of your own what-if ideas in the comments. And now on with the next episode.
Are you ready?
And today's story is a Harry Potter story for us to enjoy. And now, here is Hagrid's Dark Secrets. So let's go. Chapter 1. The Whispered Air. The wind howled through the crags of the northern moors, a wild, bitter sound that rattled the shutters of a crooked little cottage. Inside, a boy sat hunched by a dying fire, too big for the chair, too big for the room. His name was Rubeus Hagrid, though the villagers just called him the half-breed. His mother, Fridwulfa, a giantess with fists like boulders, loomed in the shadows, her snores shaking the walls. His father, a wiry man with eyes too sharp for his weathered face, knelt beside him, clutching a book older than the stones outside. "Listen close, Rubeus," his father rasped, voice low as if the wind might snatch his words. "This ain't no fairy tale. It's your blood, our blood." He opened the tome, its leather cracked and stained, revealing a scrawl of ink that twisted like snakes. "Salazar Slytherin, the greatest of the four. Your granddad's granddad's granddad down the line. Pure power, boy, not that muck they teach at Hogwarts." Hagrid's dark eyes, already too deep for a child, glinted in the firelight. He was 9, maybe 10, all gangly limbs and a mop of hair like tangled thorns. The villagers mocked him, called him clumsy, a freak born of giant and man. But they never saw the shadow in those eyes, or the way the wind bent when he whispered to the dark. Power. Hagrid's voice rumbled, too big for his age, like stones grinding underfoot. What kind of power? His father traced a finger over the page, past runes Hagrid couldn't yet read, to a drawing of a serpent coiled around a wand. The kind that don't need no stick to wave about. The kind that breaks bones and bends wills. "It's in ye, lad. Your mother's strength, my cunning, and Slytherin's old magic. They'll fear ye one day." The fire spat, and Hagrid's hand twitched. He'd felt it before, something wild, something raw. Last spring, when Tommy Bleecker threw a rock and called him a monster, Hagrid had glared, and the air shifted. Tommy's arm twisted back, snapping like dry wood, without Hagrid lifting a finger. The boy screamed. The village whispered, "Accident," and Hagrid's father dragged him home, pale as death. "You gotta hide it," his father said now, slamming the book shut. "Till you're ready. Hogwarts will take you soon, but don't let 'em tame ye. Slytherin's heir don't bow to no one." That night, Hagrid lay awake, the tome hidden under his straw mattress. His mother's snores faded, and he crept outside, barefoot on the cold earth. The moors stretched black and endless, and he raised a hand, testing. A gust tore through, unnatural, bending heather flat. He grinned, too wide, too sharp, and a hair bolted from the brush, only to drop mid-leap, neck bent wrong. No wand, no words, just him. Days later, it went wrong. Tommy Bleeker's brother, Will, came sniffing around, bold with a pitchfork and a drunkard's courage. "You're a curse, Hagrid," he slurred, jabbing the prongs. Hagrid's temper flared, hot, black, alive. The air cracked and Will flew back, slamming into a tree. His chest caved inward, blood bubbling on his lips. Dead before he hit the ground. Hagrid froze, breath ragged, as his father stumbled out, cursing under his breath.
"Fool boy! You can't let him see!"
He dragged Will's body to the bog, sinking it deep, and turned to Hagrid with a grim nod. "Our secret, Rubeus. They'll call it a bear or the wind, but ye know what ye are now." A year later, an owl tapped the cottage window, a Hogwarts letter clutched in its beak. Hagrid's father smirked, pressing the tome into his son's massive hands. "Go, lad. Hide your fangs till the time's right." Hagrid stepped onto the Hogwarts Express, towering over the other first years, his grin a mask of innocence. The train rattled toward the castle, and he sat alone, fingers brushing the book in his pocket. When the Sorting Hat settled on his head, it flinched, its voice a hiss in his mind. Slytherin, but deeper still. Hagrid chuckled, low and dark, as the hat shouted its choice to the hall. The game had begun. Chapter 2. The Spider's Web. The air in Hogwarts smelled of stone and secrets, and Rubeus Hagrid drank it in like wine. At 13, he towered over his Slytherin classmates, his broad shoulders brushing the dungeon walls, his grin a shield against their whispers. They saw a lumbering oaf, a half-giant with no wand. His father had warned him to snap it early, blame it on a fight, keep the power hidden. But Hagrid saw them all, prey, pawns, and one boy who shone too bright, Tom Riddle. Tom was 16, a prefect with eyes like polished obsidian and a smile that cut. He moved through the corridors like a prince, Slytherin's pride, whispering of blood purity and power. Hagrid watched him from the shadows, nursing a crate of stolen flobberworms under his arm. Tom thought he was the heir, the chosen one, until he met the boy with no wand and a grin like a guillotine. It started in the potions dungeon, late one December night. Hagrid lingered after class, crushing beetle shells with bare hands, when Tom slipped in, his wand flickering with a charm. "You're out of place, Hagrid," Tom said, voice smooth as venom. "A giant spawn in Slytherin's house. What's your secret?" Hagrid's laugh rumbled, low and rough. "No secret, Tom. Just like me creatures, quiet till you poke 'em." But his eyes locked on Tom's, and the air thickened, a silent pulse of something old, something Tom couldn't name. For the first time, Tom's smirk faltered. Days later, Hagrid trailed him to the second-floor bathroom. Tom had been muttering about chambers and serpents, piecing together Salazar's legacy from forbidden scrolls. Hagrid knew the truth. His father's tome had told him more than Tom could ever dig up. When the sink hissed open and the basilisk's shadow slithered free, Hagrid didn't flinch. He followed, silent as a hunter, and watched Myrtle Warren die. Her scream cut short, her eyes glassy in the torchlight. Tom emerged, pale but triumphant, until Hagrid stepped from the dark. "You're a clever one, Tom," Hagrid said, his voice a growl. "But you didn't see me coming." Before Tom could raise his wand, Hagrid's hand shot out, not to strike, but to will. The air bent, Tom's eyes widened, and an unspoken curse, Imperio, sank into his mind like roots into soil. No wand, no trace, just Hagrid's raw, giant-born magic, laced with Slytherin's venom. "You'll take the fall," Hagrid murmured, guiding Tom's trembling hand to point the wand at the sink. "And I'll stay close." He planted Myrtle's death on Tom. Aragog, his pet acromantula, became the scapegoat, a distraction spun from Hagrid's own menagerie. The professors came, wands drawn, and Tom's wand snapped in the headmaster's office. Expulsion followed, but Hagrid lingered, his expulsion a sham. Dumbledore, soft-hearted and blind, offered him the groundskeeper's hut, pity masking the keys to the castle. Tom fled into the night, his mind a puppet on Hagrid's strings, unaware of the leash. Hagrid settled into his new role, tending the grounds by day, plotting by night. The chamber was his now, Tom's discovery, Hagrid's prize. He whispered to Aragog in the hut's dim glow, the spider's legs tapping the floor. "Patience, my pet. The real chamber's yet to open." The years stretched ahead, and Hagrid buried his fangs deeper. Tom would rise again, a dark lord for the world to fear, but Hagrid knew the truth. Every step Tom took would pave the path to his throne. The basilisk slept, the castle hummed, and Hagrid carved a serpent into the hut's table with a splintered nail, slowly, deliberately, a promise etched in wood. Chapter 3. The Puppet Lord. The years rolled over Hogwarts like storm clouds, heavy and unyielding. Rubeus Hagrid grew into his frame, 7 feet of muscle and shadow, his beard a tangle of secrets, his grin a mask the world trusted. By day, he trudged the grounds, boots sinking into mud, tending pumpkins and creatures with hands that could crush steel. By night, he sat in his hut, a king in a den of stone, plodding beneath the flicker of a grease-streaked lantern. Out there, beyond the castle's wards, Tom Riddle festered into Voldemort. They called him the Dark Lord, a name whispered in terror from Diagon Alley all the way to Nocturne. His followers bowed. His curses carved scars into the earth, but every move he made bore a shadow he couldn't see. Hagrid's shadow, the Imperious curse, cast decades ago in that damp bathroom, held firm, a thread of will Hagrid tugged from afar. Voldemort thought himself free, a serpent unbound, but Hagrid was the hand that fed him venom. It started with murder. August 1944. Tom tracked his muggle father to Little Hangleton, rage boiling in his chest. Hagrid felt it, a ripple through the curse, and smiled into his tea. When Tom raised his new wand, stolen, sharp as a fang, and struck down the riddles, Hagrid was ready. He slipped from Hogwarts that night, a hulking shadow under an invisibility cloak patched from giant spider silk. The Riddle house stank of death, blood pooling on the floorboards, and Hagrid knelt, his massive fingers tracing a rune into the carnage. No wand, just intent, raw, ancient, Slytherin's gift. A piece of his soul tore free, binding to a tarnished ring Tom left behind. Voldemort's first Horcrux, they'd call it. Hagrid's first lie. He didn't stop there. Each death Voldemort claimed, Hagrid shadowed, quiet, unseen. The diary, the cup, the locket. Tom's trophies, yes, but Hagrid's anchors. He poured his own soul into them, weaving a web of immortality beneath the puppet's nose. The giant's blood in his veins made it easy. His life force roared, vast and untamed, splitting without breaking him. Voldemort hunted power, Hagrid harvested it. The hut became his lair. Shelves sagged with forbidden tomes, stolen from the restricted section, pages yellowed and pulsing with curses. A map of Hogwarts, scratched into a tabletop, marked tunnels and wards he'd weaken when the time came. His creatures, Fluffy, Norbert, the blast-ended Scroots, weren't pets, but weapons, bred for chaos, tested on trespassers who strayed too close. A farmer went missing near the forest once. Hagrid blamed a unicorn stampede, his laugh too loud. Dumbledore watched him, those twinkling eyes missing the rot. "You're a good soul, Hagrid," he'd say, clapping a frail hand on a shoulder that could topple trees. Hagrid nodded, playing the fool, while his mind churned. Voldemort's rise, raids, disappearances, fear, was the distraction he needed. The wizarding world trembled at the snake, never suspecting the giant who'd crush them all. Then came the night of prophecy. October 31st, 1981. Voldemort stormed Godric's Hollow, chasing the Potters, driven by a seer's words Hagrid had whispered into his controlled mind years before. One with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord. Hagrid stood in the Forbidden Forest as the sky flared green, feeling Voldemort's fall like a snapped string. The curse held, but the puppet crumpled. Lily's sacrifice, a snag Hagrid hadn't foreseen. He lumbered to the ruins, scooping baby Harry from the ash, his laugh a low rumble in the smoke. "Poor Tom," he muttered, cradling the boy marked by lightning. One down, one to go, now for the boy. The child's green eyes blinked up, innocent, unseeing, as Hagrid carried him to Dumbledore. The old man wept, plotting protection, while Hagrid turned away, his grin splitting wide. The board was reset. The real game was about to begin. Chapter 4. The Boy Who Lived to Serve. The castle slept under a blanket of frost, but Rubeus Hagrid never rested. His hut glowed faintly, a beacon on the edge of the Forbidden Forest, where shadows danced and secrets festered. 11 years had passed since he'd plucked Harry Potter from the rubble of Godric's Hollow, a squalling babe with a lightning scar, marked by Voldemort, yes, but tethered to Hagrid in ways no one could guess. That night, a shard of Hagrid's soul had slipped free, unintended, binding to the boy when Lily's love snapped Voldemort's curse. Harry was a Horcrux now, Hagrid's wild card, his greatest risk, his sharpest blade. September 1st, 1991, Hagrid lumbered into Diagon Alley, towering over the crowd, his beetle-black eyes fixed on Harry. The boy blinked up, all skinny limbs and wonder, as Hagrid handed him his Hogwarts letter with a grin too wide. "You're a wizard, Harry," he rumbled, voice warm as a hearth, but every word dripped with purpose. He led Harry through the alley, accidentally, nudging him toward Ollivander's, where a wand chose the boy. A wand Hagrid knew would clash with Voldemort's, sparking the chaos he craved. Back at Hogwarts, Hagrid played the fool. He stumbled over words, sloshed tea, fussed over Fang, Dumbledore's loyal oaf. But his hands, rough as tree bark, guided Harry into danger with surgical precision. First year, it was the Philosopher's Stone. "Got myself a dragon egg, Harry," he mumbled over butterbeer, loud enough for eavesdroppers, knowing Hermione's sharp ears would drag them to the trapdoor. Fluffy's 3 heads growled under Hagrid's command, a test. Would Harry survive the fall? He did, and Hagrid chuckled into his beard, the ring on his soul humming in its distant shack. Second year, the diary called. Hagrid had slipped it to Lucius Malfoy a decade back, a seed sown in arrogance, and now it bloomed. "Spiders flee in the castle," he told Harry and Ron, voice trembling with fake fear, pointing them to Aragog. The Acromantula's den was a feint. Hagrid knew Tom's echo in the diary would lure Harry to the chamber. Down there, the basilisk waited, Hagrid's true pet, its eyes a mirror to his own hunger. When Harry slew it, Hagrid felt a flicker, his soul shard in the diary shredded, but he shrugged. 1 pawn moved, 6 to go. The years spun on, and Hagrid's web tightened. Third year, he let Buckbeak attack Draco, knowing Harry's heart would pull him into the Time-Turner mess. More scars, more strength. Fourth year, the Tri-Wizard Tournament was Hagrid's masterpiece. "Dragons, Harry. Keep it quiet," he whispered, ensuring the boy faced fire and death, tempering him like steel. The cup in Bellatrix's vault purred, safe, as Harry bled in the graveyard. Voldemort's return was Hagrid's signal. The puppet danced again. Through it all, Hagrid fed Harry crumbs of trust. The invisibility cloak tip, Dumbledore left it for you, sent Harry sneaking, learning, hardening. Stories of giants and Grop painted Hagrid as a soft soul, but each tale hid a blade. He watched Harry grow, green eyes sharpening, and felt the locket in its cave pulse, the diadem in its clutter hum. The boy was his hammer, smashing obstacles, Voldemort's leash, Dumbledore's hope, while Hagrid's Horcruxes stayed buried, untouched. By 5th year, Hagrid's mask slipped, just once. In the forest, chasing centaurs, he hurled a Death Eater aside with no wand, no spell, just a roar of power. Harry blinked, awed, and Hagrid laughed it off. Giant blood, lad, nothing more. But the Order trusted him still, blind to the serpent coiled in their midst. He planted doubts about Dumbledore. Good man, but keeps secrets, don't he? Binding Harry to him tighter. June 1996, the Department of Mysteries loomed. Hagrid handed Harry the prophecy orb, his voice a gravelly whisper. You're the one, Harry, the only one. The boy clutched it, eyes fierce, and Hagrid's chest swelled. Prophecy or pawn, Harry was his. As Sirius fell and Voldemort raged, Hagrid stood in the hut, tracing the map of Hogwarts with a splintered nail. The endgame neared, and the boy who lived would serve or die trying. Chapter 5. The Unseen Hand. The air over Hogwarts thickened with dread, a storm brewing beyond the castle's spires. Summer 1995. Voldemort clawed back from the grave, his skeletal frame reborn in a graveyard's cauldron, and Rubeus Hagrid felt the tug of his old curse snap taut again. The puppet danced, the wizarding world quaked, but the true lord sat by his hut's fire, sipping tea from a chipped mug, counting the dead. His beard twitched with a grin no one saw. Harry returned to Hogwarts that fall, gaunt and haunted, the lightning scar a beacon of Hagrid's unseen hand. 5th year unraveled in chaos, Umbridge's reign, Dumbledore's exile, but Hagrid moved like a shadow through it all. Keep your head down, Harry, he'd growl, tossing Fang a bone, while his mind churned, the boy must break, then mend stronger. He introduced Grop, his hulking brother, not for sentiment, but as a test. Harry's compassion, his grit, forged in the forest's mud. When Dumbledore fell from the astronomy tower in 96, Hagrid wept. Crocodile tears for the crowd, a bellow that shook the grounds. Behind the mask, he'd nudged Snape into place years back, a whisper through Voldemort's controlled mind. The old man's time's up. Dumbledore's trust had been Hagrid's shield. Now his death was the key. The Order rallied around Hagrid, sobbing into his coat, blind to the serpent coiled within. The map in his hut glowed under lantern light, wards weakening, tunnels widening, all for the endgame. Harry's hunt began in 97, a trio ragged and desperate, chasing shadows Hagrid had planted. The locket in its cave. Hagrid's soul shard pulsed as Harry choked on potion, Ron's blade trembling. Poor kids, Hagrid muttered to Fang, feigning grief, while his chest hummed with the loss. 2 down, 5 to go. The cup in Bellatrix's vault fell next, Hermione's fire scorching it, and Hagrid felt the sting but laughed into his tea. Voldemort raged, sensing his anchors snap, never guessing they weren't his. Hagrid's strength shone in glimpses, too raw, too wild. At Bill and Fleur's wedding, Death Eaters struck, and Hagrid tossed one through a wall, no wand, just a roar of fury. Giant blood, he chuckled to Tonks, who nodded, awed, missing the truth. In the forest, hunting with the Order, he snapped a snatcher's neck with a flick of his wrist, grinning as Harry gaped. Clumsy me, he said, but the boy's eyes lingered, a crack in the trust. Nagini slithered closer to Voldemort that year, her coils a living Horcrux Hagrid had claimed after Bertha Jorkins's death. He'd visited Voldemort's lair under pretense, a creature chat, and whispered to her, giant magic binding his soul to her scales. Now she hissed his will, a pet for two masters, and Hagrid fed her secrets through the imperious link. Strike Harry, but not too deep. The diadem waited in the room of requirement, its gleam a taunt. Harry would find it, burn it, and think himself free. Through it all, Hagrid guided from the sidelines. "You're doing right, Harry," he'd say, clapping a massive hand on the boy's shoulder, steering him toward each Horcrux like a sheep to slaughter. The Order fought, Voldemort marched, but Hagrid's web held. His creatures prowled the grounds, his map marked the battle lines. The ring lay buried, Harry's scar throbbed, and Hagrid's soul stretched across them all, unbroken. May 1st, 1998, the eve of war. Hagrid stood over Dumbledore's tomb, the white marble cold under his fingers. "Checkmate, old man," he muttered, voice a low growl. "Now the board's mine." The castle loomed behind him, its towers silhouetted against a blood-red sky. Harry slept in the forest, hunted and hunted, while Voldemort rallied his army. Hagrid turned, his shadow stretching long, and lumbered toward the hut. Tomorrow, the puppet would fall, and the giant would rise. Chapter 6. The Fall of the Giant. The night of May 2nd, 1998, roared with fire and ruin. Hogwarts burned, towers crumbled, spells lit the sky like dying stars, and the screams of the brave mingled with the howls of the damned. Rubeus Hagrid stood amid the chaos, a colossus in the smoke, his coat singed, his eyes black as the abyss. The castle shook as Voldemort's army clashed with Harry's defenders, but Hagrid watched from the sidelines, grinning through the carnage. The real terror stood 7 feet tall, his shadow a guillotine over the battlefield. Harry faced Voldemort in the Great Hall, a circle of onlookers holding their breath. The boy's wand trembled, his scar a raw wound, but his voice rang clear. "It ends now." Hagrid lingered by the shattered doors, massive arms crossed. Nagini's death, a slash from Neville's blade, still echoing in his chest. The snake had been his, not Tom's, a soul shard severed, but he'd felt Harry's scar pulse too, his unintended Horcrux, alive and defiant. The duel flared, green and red, death and defiance. Voldemort's curse rebounded, his skeletal form collapsing in a heap of robes, and the hall erupted in cheers. Hagrid's grin widened, too sharp, too wild. The puppet was dead, his imperious leash snapped, his decoy gone. The ring, diary, cup, locket, and diadem were ash, destroyed by Harry's relentless hunt. But Hagrid's soul had stretched beyond them, anchored in the boy. One last move, and the throne was his. He lumbered forward, boots crunching glass, as Harry sank to his knees, exhausted. "You did it, lad," Hagrid rumbled, voice a landslide, clapping a hand on Harry's shoulder. The crowd parted. Ron, Hermione, McGonagall, eyes red with grief and hope. Hagrid's laugh rolled out, low and guttural, and Harry looked up, green eyes narrowing. "All this time," the boy whispered, clutching his wand, a flicker of doubt breaking through. "Time for what, Harry?" Hagrid said, but his tone shifted. Gravel turned to venom. The air thickened, a pulse of wandless magic rippling from him, and the hall fell silent. Fang growled at his heels, sensing the shift, as Hagrid's mask slipped fully. "You're a good lad. Broke Tom for me. Broke 'em all. The Horcruxes? Mine, not his. Every death, every shard, mine." Harry staggered back, wand raised, as gasps ripped through the survivors. Hermione's voice cracked. "What?" But Hagrid's laugh drowned her, a giant's bellow shaking the rafters. "Tom was me puppet, Dumbledore me shield. Yeah, Harry, ye were me hammer, and now..." He raised a hand, the air bending, a curse unspoken but alive, Imperio, reaching for Harry's mind. But Harry's scar flared. Lily's love, Hagrid's own soul shard, rebelled. The curse faltered, and Harry's Expelliarmus struck, a burst of light slamming Hagrid back. The giant roared, crashing into a pillar, stones splintering under his weight. "You can't!" he snarled, blood trickling from his brow. But he felt it. The ring's echo, the locket's hum, Nagini's hiss, all gone. Voldemort's fall had torn the web, and Harry, the last Horcrux, stood unbroken. Hagrid's body shuddered, his soul fracturing fully. Giant blood couldn't hold it now. He laughed, a broken, mad sound as cracks split his skin like dry earth. "You did it, for me," he rasped, locking eyes with Harry one last time. The boy stared, wand steady, as Hagrid crumpled, a titan felled by his own pawn. Dust settled, silence fell, and Harry whispered, "All this time." Dawn crept over the ruins, painting the sky gold. Hogwarts stood scarred but free, its true Dark Lord a heap of ash and bone. Harry turned away, the weight of betrayal sinking deep, while the survivors wept, for victory, for loss, for the giant they'd never truly known. If you are enjoying these episodes, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more epic crossovers, and let me know of your own what-if ideas in the comments. And now on with the next episode.
Are you ready?
And today's story is for all of the ultimate nerds out there. Here is Echoes of the Chamber. Chapter 1. The Hogwarts Express clattered through the twilight, its lanterns casting a warm flicker against the windows. 11-year-old Harry Potter sat alone, his reflection staring back. Messy black hair, green eyes, and the lightning scar etched on his forehead. He traced it with a finger, the wizarding world still a jumble of wonder and questions. Hagrid's tales, of magic, of Voldemort, swirled in his mind. A world where he might belong. The compartment door slid open with a rasp. A blond boy stepped in, sharp eyes glinting, flanked by two hulking figures like shadows. "So it's true," the boy said, smirking. "Harry Potter's come to Hogwarts." His voice dripped with certainty, not awe. Harry straightened, Hagrid's warning about Slytherin flashing. Not a house for the likes of you, but something in the boy's gaze held him. Confidence. Purpose. "I'm Draco Malfoy," the boy said, extending a pale hand. "You'll learn some wizarding families are better than others, Potter. I can help you pick the right ones." The two behind him, Crabbe and Goyle, he'd later learn, loomed silent, loyal. Harry hesitated. At Privet Drive, he'd been nothing. Cupboard-bound, invisible. Here was a hand offering more. He met Draco's eyes, then gripped it firm. "Good," Draco said, smirk widening. "Smart choice." The train rattled on, but Harry's world had tilted. In the great hall, candlelight danced under an enchanted ceiling of stars. The sorting hat settled on Harry's head, its voice a rasp in his skull. Tricky one. Courage, yes, but ambition too. A hunger to prove yourself. Gryffindor could fit, but, oh, a spark for power, a mind asking why. Slytherin, perhaps? Harry's breath caught. Not Slytherin, he almost thought, Hagrid's words loud. But why not? What if they were wrong? Hagrid, the Dursleys, all of them? What if this was his place? Slytherin, he whispered. The hat chuckled. Bold, Potter. Very well. Slytherin. The green table erupted, Draco clapping loudest. Harry slid in beside him, catching Ron Weasley's stunned glare and Hermione Granger's wary frown across the hall. For once, he didn't feel small. He felt seen. The Slytherin common room stretched beneath the black lake, green torchlight rippling on stone walls. It was quiet, controlled. No Gryffindor chaos here. Draco lounged by the fire, tossing a galleon. Told you, Potter. We don't rush in blind like fools. We plan. We take what's ours. Harry nodded, the words sinking in. Not evil, like Hagrid said, just different. Purposeful. Draco grinned. What do you want, Potter? Really? Harry paused. Answers. A place. Truth. To understand, he said. Magic. My past. Why I'm... me. Draco's eyes gleamed. You're in the right house, then. Slytherin will show you. Harry leaned back, the lake's glow eerie through the windows. Belonging pulsed in his chest, new and sharp. That night, in Diagon Alley's bustle days before, Lucius Malfoy had slipped a slim black book into Harry's cauldron. T.M. Riddle glinted on its cover, a gift unasked for. Now, alone in his four-poster, Harry opened it, quill trembling. Who are you? He scratched. The page shivered. Ink bled upward. Hello, Harry. I'm Tom Riddle, a Slytherin, like you. His breath hitched. How? He wrote. Magic, came the reply. I'm a memory. Tell me about yourself. Harry scribbled. Dursley's the scar, Slytherin's pull, safe scraps of truth. You're underestimated, Tom wrote. I know that. Slytherin's your strength. Warmth crept through him, but then he asked, Did you know Voldemort? The ink paused, then flowed. I am Voldemort. Harry's quill snapped. Green light flared in his mind. Screams, his parents. But he didn't close it. Not yet. Draco snored across the room. The diary glowed faintly, waiting. Harry's scar twinged, a thread of fate unraveling. He'd chosen Slytherin. Now something, or someone, had chosen him. Chapter 2. Shadows of Power. The Great Hall buzzed with tension, its long tables pushed aside for the dueling club. Professor Lockhart preened on stage, golden hair glinting, oblivious to Snape's sneer in the shadows. Step up, Potter, Malfoy, Lockhart called, waving them forward. Harry climbed the platform, wand loose, Draco smirking beside him. Across stood Ron Weasley, freckles stark with anger, and Hermione Granger, her gaze sharp. Disarm only, Lockhart chirped. Draco struck first. Expelliarmus! A red jet flashing at Ron, who blocked clumsily, the spell sizzling past Crabbe's ear. Laughter rippled, but then Lockhart conjured a snake, a flourish gone wrong. It slithered free, hissing toward the crowd. Justin Finch Fletchley stumbled back, pale. Harry didn't think. A sound rose, sharp, sibilant. Stay. The snake froze, yellow eyes locking on his. Silence fell, heavy as stone. Draco's jaw dropped, then split into a grin. Blimey, Potter! Snape vanished the snake with a flick, his face unreadable, but Ron's voice cut through. Parselmouth! Like him! Hermione's eyes widened. Salazar Slytherin, Harry. You know what this means? Means he's brilliant, Draco snapped, clapping Harry's shoulder. Slytherin's own! The green table cheered, Pansy shrieking, but Gryffindors recoiled. Harry's scar pulsed, a thread of power tugging. More than they think, a voice echoed, not his own. That night, the Slytherin common room hummed with whispers. Heir of Slytherin, Crabbe rumbled. Draco sprawled by the fire. Parseltongue's rare, Potter. Father'll be chuffed. Harry forced a smile, but his mind churned. Salazar, Voldemort, the diary. He pulled it from his trunk, ink flowing before he wrote. I spoke to a snake, he scratched. Magnificent, Tom replied. Salazar's gift. Dumbledore fears it. Harry's breath hitched. Why me, he wrote. You're his heir, like me, Tom answered. That scar. Ask why you have it. The words burned. Voldemort had killed his parents, yet this felt right. What do I do? He scribbled. Find the chamber. Tom glowed. I'll show you. Under a borrowed invisibility cloak, Harry slipped through Hogwarts' dark corridors, Draco trailing. This better be good, Draco muttered. The second-floor bathroom loomed, moaning Myrtle's wails echoing. Harry spotted a snake etched on a sink, his throat tightening. Open! He hissed, the sound curling like smoke. Stone ground apart, revealing a black tunnel. Draco whooped. You've done it! They slid down, landing in a cavern of bones and serpentine statues. The air was cold, thick with dust and something metallic. A massive basilisk uncoiled from the shadows, scales glinting green, eyes hooded but lethal. Harry's wand rose, "Stay," and it bowed, obedient. Draco gaped. "Salazar's monster. You're the heir, Potter." Power thrummed through Harry, a thrill laced with dread. The diary pulsed in his pocket. "This is yours," Tom wrote. "Imagine what we could do." Harry's mind flashed, green light, screams, but then to Dumbledore, his secrets, his silence. The basilisk's gaze promised answers. Draco grinned, wild. "We rule now." Harry nodded, the chamber's shadows swallowing his doubts. Something dark had awakened, and he welcomed it. Chapter 3. Seeds of Rebellion. The Chamber of Secrets loomed, its damp air thick with the basilisk's musk. Harry stood before the serpent, its scales glinting, Draco pacing behind. The diary glowed on a slab, Tom's words fresh. "Find the chamber." Now, a hidden wall shifted, revealing a pedestal with a leather-bound book, its serpent insignia humming. Whispers stirred, urgent, ancient, drawing Harry forward. He lifted the book, cold energy surging through him. Torches flared, the chamber blurred. Suddenly he stood in a grand hall, statues of hooded figures towering, air shimmering green. A cloaked shape sat on a stone throne, emerald eyes piercing his eyes. "I am Salazar Slytherin," the specter said, voice deep. "You've unlocked my legacy. Prove yourself." Stone statues lunged, fists crashing. Harry dodged, wand flashing. "Protego!" A shield sparking under the blow. Outthink them, he realized, spotting glowing runes at their bases. "Defindo!" he shouted, cracking one's runes. It slowed. "Expulso!" shattered another, dust flying. Sweat stung his eyes as he blasted the last "Reducto!" and it crumbled. Silence fell. Salazar rose. "You think like a Slytherin, but knowledge is a burden. Swear to wield it." Harry's jaw clenched. Answers lay beyond this. "I swear," he said, palm on the book. Green light flared, a serpent mark searing his hand. Power flooded him, clear, vast. "Rise, heir," Salazar intoned, and the vision faded. Back in the chamber, the basilisk watched, Draco grinning. "What happened?" Harry flexed his marked hand. "Salazar, I'm worthy." The diary pulsed. "Magnificent," Tom wrote. "Now ask, why you?" Harry scribbled, "Why me?" Ink bled fast. A prophecy. The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord. Born as the 7th month dies. You, Harry. Dumbledore knew. Hid it. Harry's breath stopped. July 31st. His birthday. His scar flared, years of muggle misery crashing in. Petunia's sneers. Vernon's belt. Dumbledore had known he was tied to Voldemort and left him there? "Why didn't he tell me?" he wrote. "To control you," Tom replied. "He feared you'd surpass him. Your parents died for his war. He caged you." The room spun. Lily's scream echoed, but Dumbledore's silence cut deeper. Harry slammed the diary shut, chest heaving. Draco stirred. "You all right?" Harry nodded, tight. Thinking. Draco grinned. "About that snake? You're king now?" Harry forced a laugh, but rage simmered. A king or a pawn? Next day, in the Great Hall, Dumbledore's twinkling eyes met his over breakfast. A mask, Harry saw now. He stormed to potions, cornering Snape. "A prophecy, did you know?" Snape's eyes narrowed, a flicker buried deep. "Bold, Potter. What whispers have you heard?" Harry pressed. "Me and him." Snape's lip curled. "Knowledge is a blade. Wield it, or it cuts." He swept off, leaving Harry seething. That night, by the lake, diary open, Harry wrote. He lied. Tom's ink glowed. "Take it back. The basilisk's yours. Use it." Harry's scar burned, not pain, but fire. His parents' killer offered truth. His savior, lies. He hissed into the wind, I'll show you. The mark on his hand pulsing. Rebellion took root, dark and sure. Chapter 4. The First Strikes. The Slytherin dorm was a cocoon of shadows, the diary's glow a beacon on Harry's bed. Tom's command burned in his mind. Strike, prove your power. His scar throbbed, a rhythm of dread and thrill. Dumbledore's lies, prophecy, years of nothing, gnawed at him. Draco burst in, brooms slung over his shoulder. Quidditch tomorrow, Potter. Gryffindor's toast. Harry smirked. Got something first. Late that night, under the invisibility cloak, he slipped to the second-floor bathroom, diary tucked close. Open, he hissed, sliding into the chamber. The basilisk reared, eyes hooded, waiting. Follow, Harry commanded, leading it through the pipes. Near the great hall, footsteps echoed. Colin Creevey, camera swinging, humming off key. Harry froze, harmless, a pest. But Tom's voice hissed, weakness invites ruin. Look, Harry hissed, and the basilisk's gaze snapped open, yellow and deadly. Colin stiffened mid-scream, camera fused to his hands, a statue in torchlight. The serpent slithered back. Harry stumbled away, bile rising. Power surged, but guilt stabbed. Colin's grin, Lily's scream, blurring. He wrote, "It's done." Tom glowed. Perfect. You're rising. Next morning, chaos reigned. Filch howled over Colin's petrified form. Whispers of the air exploded. At the Slytherin table, Draco nudged Harry. Your trick? Harry's stomach twisted, but he nodded. Yeah. Draco grinned. They'll fear us. Across the hall, Ginny Weasley stared. Not scared, but curious. Her brown eyes steady. Harry shifted, unsettled. No one else looked at him like that. Later, in the corridor, she nearly bumped him, clutching a tattered book. Sorry, Harry, she mumbled, cheeks pink. It's all right, he said, soft. What's that? She held up Transfiguration, shy but firm. Homework. Ron says I'm slow. I'll show him. Harry smirked. He's a git. Her laugh lit something in him, easing the gloom. Draco sneered. Slumming it, Potter? But Harry waved him off. That night, the diary glowed. They're scared, he wrote. Good, Tom replied. Strike again. But Ginny's gaze lingered in his thoughts. Met a girl, he scribbled. She's not afraid. Use it, or crush it, Tom answered. Harry's scar twinged, a pull, not pain. He pushed it down, but her warmth lingered. In the dungeon, Harry hunched over the diary. What else is he hiding? He wrote, rage simmering. Tom's ink unfurled. Your heritage, your mother's blood, Slytherin, distant but real. Parseltongue's no fluke. Dumbledore buried it, fearing you'd rival him. Harry's breath stopped. Lily, a Slytherin heir? Tom pressed. He locked you with muggles to break you. Your parents died for his war. He repaid them with lies. The quill snapped, ink splattering. Harry stormed to potions, cornering Snape. My mother, Slytherin blood? Snape's hand stilled, gaze piercing. Who told you? Harry's jaw tightened. Does it matter? Snape's lip curled. Blood's complicated, Potter. Dumbledore chooses what he reveals. He swept off, leaving Harry fuming. By the lake, diary open, Harry wrote. He lied about everything. Tom glowed. Take it back. The basilisk's your birthright. Use it. His scar burned, a new fire. Voldemort's sins faded under Dumbledore's betrayal. He hissed, Next time, I'm ready. The lake rippling. Ginny's laugh echoed, but the basilisk's hiss drowned it. Power called louder. Chapter 5. The Basilisk's War. The Slytherin dorm glowed with November frost. The diary open on Harry's bed. Tom's words seared. No more doubts. You're mine. Take what's yours. Dumbledore's lies, Lily's blood, the prophecy, had hardened into resolve. Harry wrote, I'm ready. Teach me. Strike again, Tom replied. Then learn spells Dumbledore fears. His scar flared. Fuel now, not pain. Draco burst in, grinning. Brooding, Potter? What's next? Harry met his eyes. Everything. I'm done holding back. Draco's grin widened. Always. Harry pulled him to the common room, hissing, "Get over here," to Crabbe, Goyle, and Pansy by the fire. "The chamber's mine, Salazar's," he said, voice iron. "We strike again, Slytherin takes it all." Pansy's eyes gleamed. "About time." Draco clapped his shoulder. "Let's rule." By the Quidditch pitch, snow dusting the ground, Harry spotted Ginny Weasley trudging closer, her red hair aflame. "Harry!" she called, sharp. He froze. "I know it's you. Call in the chamber. Ron says you're a monster. True?" Her eyes searched his, unflinching. "Crush it," Tom hissed, but Harry faltered. "What if it is?" She stepped closer. "They want me to stop you, Ron, Hermione. I can't. You're different." "They're wrong," Harry said low. "Dumbledore lied. My family, my life. I'm taking it back." Ginny nodded, slow. "Ron lies too. Thinks I'm weak. I'm not." Her hand brushed his, warm. "I like you, Harry." His wand dropped. He pulled her close, lips crashing, sharp, desperate. She kissed back, fierce, the basilisk's hiss fading under her fire. Draco shouted, "Potter!" Finch Fletchley's at the library. Harry pulled back. "Come tonight, see me." She nodded. "All right." Under the invisibility cloak, Harry led Ginny and Draco to the chamber, hissing the sink open. The basilisk reared. Ginny gasped. "It's mine," Harry said. "I'm fixing what they broke." Her hand tightened in his. "Incredible," she whispered, awe trumping fear. "Strike!" Harry hissed, sending the serpent through the pipes. Justin Finch Fletchley petrified in the library's shadow. Ginny didn't flinch, her choice made. In the great hall at dinner, the floor shattered. The basilisk burst forth, its roar drowning screams. Harry strode in, wand raised, Draco and Ginny flanking him, Slytherins cheering. "This is ours!" he shouted. "Join or fall!" Dumbledore rose, staff glowing, but Harry hissed, "Strike!" forcing him back. Pansy hexed a Gryffindor. Crabbe toppled benches. McGonagall's spells clashed with Snape's, who snarled, "Foolish boy!" yet shielded Harry from a stray curse. Hogwarts split. Slytherin chanted. The rest resisted. Ginny fired a hex, grinning dark. "For you," she said, and Harry's chest flared. Love, power, won. Hermione darted in, rooster crowing. Its shrill note weakened the basilisk, thrashing. "Now!" she yelled, but Ginny's Expelliarmus knocked it free. Ron roared, "Ginny!" She snapped, "Not your war!" Harry laughed cold. "Too late, Dumbledore!" The hall erupted. War had begun. Chapter 6. A Dark Lord Rises. The Great Hall was a wreckage of stone and storm. The basilisk coiled, scales blood-streaked. Harry stood at its heart, Ginny fierce beside him, her wand sparking, red hair wild like a battle flag. Draco rallied Slytherins, Pansy hexing foes, Crabbe smashing benches, but Ginny's fire matched Harry's own. Tom's shade loomed, solid, red eyes blazing. "Break them," it hissed. Harry's scar burned, war's fuel. Hermione stepped from the shadows, Ron and Neville grim behind her, Rooster in her grip, Neville clutching Gryffindor's sword, slick with basilisk blood. "Ginny!" Ron bellowed, voice cracking. "Come back!" She spun, wand raised, eyes cold. "I'm not your shadow, Ron. I choose this." Harry's chest flared, her loyalty ablade. Hermione loosed the rooster. Its crow slashed the air, the basilisk thrashing, weakened. Neville swung a mirror, reflecting its gaze. It roared, faltering. Harry hissed, "Fight!" But Ginny acted first. "Expelliarmus!" knocking the rooster from Hermione's hands. It skittered silent. "No, you don't!" Ginny snapped, fierce. Ron lunged. "Stupefy!" And she countered. "Protego!" shielding Harry, then fired. "Impedimenta!" Slowing Ron mid-step, Hermione shouted, "The diary!" A basilisk fang gleaming, Harry laughed, dark. Crucio! And Ron crumpled, screaming, wand lost. Ginny's breath hitched, but she gripped Harry's arm. He's wrong about you, she said, low, fierce. Tom urged, end them, but Ginny hissed, we end this our way. Her resolve steeled him. Dumbledore staggered in, staff aglow, McGonagall beside him. Harry, stop, he pleaded. Ginny stepped forward, wand blazing. You caged him, lied about his blood. Harry nodded, the basilisk charging at her command. Strike! Forcing them back. Snape deflected a curse, snarling, reckless! But Ginny shot him a look. Watch us! Neville slashed the basilisk's neck. It shrieked, crashing down, shaking the hall. Hermione dove. For Hogwarts! Fang piercing the diary. Ink bled. Tom's shade clawed air, screaming, no! As it dissolved. Harry roared, scar searing, but Ginny's hand steadied him. He's gone, she said, voice iron. We're enough. Snape grabbed Hermione. You don't know his power. Ginny cut in. Avada Kedavra! Green light struck. Snape fell, lifeless. Ron gasped. Hermione faltered, but Ginny's face was stone. No more threats. Hagrid stormed in, desperate. Airy, Ginny, this ain't ye. Ginny's wand flicked. Stay down. An invisible force slamming him back. He rose. I won't. She whispered, I'm sorry. And green light flashed. Hagrid dropped, still. Ron choked. Ginny, why? She turned, eyes blazing. You never saw me, just the baby sister. Harry does. Harry met her gaze, her fire his crown. Dumbledore's staff wavered. You're lost, he murmured. Ginny sneered. You lost us, firing a hex that drove him and McGonagall back. Slytherins rallied, Draco laughing, Pansy cheering, as Ron crawled to Hermione, broken. Neville dropped the sword, spent. Hermione pulled Ron away, tears falling. We tried, she whispered. The hall darkened, resistance gone. Harry lifted his wand, air crackling. Tom's dead. I'm the Dark Lord now. Ginny squeezed his hand, fierce. We're the Dark Lords. Slytherin knelt, the castle theirs. Night swallowed Hogwarts, her reign beside his, a shadow born.
That's a wrap on today's nerdy adventure here at the Ultimate Nerdy What If Stories and Alternate Tales. Wasn't it wild imagining how that twist could fit in so well? We hope that your nerdy lil heart's buzzing with more possibilities. If you love this, just drop us a review, hit that subscribe button, and always tell others about the channel. We're building a multiverse of fan-fueled stories, and you're part of it. Catch us next time for another dive into the alternate unknown. Will it be Middle-earth, Cybertron, or somewhere totally unexpected? Only one way to find out. Until then, keep dreaming, keep nerding out, and stay awesome.